Well, that West Brom game is up there with the most angry I've ever been watching QPR. Absolutely disgraceful, says Tommy. Grant says, dreadful. We'd be terrible porn stars because we've had zero penetration. Welcome to where Super Hoops walk. We're talking about, is it now time to just lower our expectations and accept we're just a mid-table side? Also, what's wrong with Lloyd? We're asking Gerard that particular question. Also talking about wages and top earners. And who do we want up from League One? Lots to get through this week. Delighted to have Gerard Lower back with us. When is it all over? Dear Gerard, I had such high hopes for QPR this season, and is it because we've raised our expectations too high? Do you think?
I think we got to a point where we were in touching distance of the playoffs, and then we had a decent run of fixtures as well. So I think those two things combined gave us hope. Players were coming back from injury. It looked like we were going to have quite a strong squad for the run-in, and then it's fallen apart more than I think any of us anticipated. And I think the concern now is that it just kind of peters out for the end of the season, which would really be disappointing. It would be a poor season if we end up on less points than we did last season. I think there'll be serious questions asked, and it didn't look like that way a few weeks ago. I still think we're 4 points better off than we were this time last season, but yeah, it feels that we're probably where we should be in the league, but it felt like we were aiming a lot higher, so it all feels a little bit frustrating.
You've played better during the season when you've had no players to call on, haven't you? When everyone comes fit again, he's got selection headaches. It was almost like you've got too many players to accommodate.
I think at the moment, though, I think yesterday you had Jake Clark-Salter, who's long-term injury, Sella, who's a long-term injury, Ryan Colley, long-term injury, and then you've got Sam Field, who's out now for 9 weeks. Varane was out yesterday, Frey was out yesterday. So just when we thought everyone was getting back fit, there's been a whole new raft of injuries, which has kind of scuppered his plans. Really, I think being without your first 3 choice strikers when they're not very good anyway, I think has been a big issue.
Yeah. QPRW10 says, I really don't know why people are so upset after today. Our squad was only ever good enough to get mid-table, and that's what's happening. Today we had 3 strikers and our main 2 midfielders out. It really isn't that deep. We should just stop talking, accept it, move on, Joward, and hope for a better week. But do you accept that point of view that, look, it was fun for a while, but we are just, a 14th, 15th finishing side?
I think the frustration yesterday was the fact that we were playing against a team that had 10 men for the whole second half, and we just didn't look like we were ever going to score. I think we had our first shot on target in the 94th minute, which really isn't acceptable. And even with the injured players, you still had Saito, you had Che, you had Yang, you had experience like Holback in the team. I think the frustration yesterday was quite fair. But long term, I think realistically, if you had offered us 12th place, we all would have taken it at the start of the season. And now I think the concern is that we're going to finish back down to 16th, 17th, 18th.
Yeah, but you're not going to go down there. There's some ridiculous tweets saying, we're looking over our shoulder again. We're not entertaining that.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, we featured Yang on here as our title and said, we had our Korean journalist on talking about, how great he's been and so on. And now I'm reading stuff like this. So help us out, please. Sorry to say, but Yang is not very good, says Billy. Jay says Powell should be nowhere in this team. He has no fight at all. He's leaving at the end of the season. Yang isn't good at all. I believe at the moment this guy is a marketing tool for QPR. Why are we developing players for other teams when we have a player like Sutton in our youth team? Okay, so help us out. I haven't watched every QPR game. You have. You travel the country and spend your money. Is Yang any good?
I've seen glimpses that there might be a player there, but nowhere near enough to justify starting him over someone like Paul Smith, in my opinion. Yesterday at half time, he brought off Paul Smith and kept Yang on, which I think was ridiculous. I think afterwards Marty said something along the lines that Smith had been ill in the week, so maybe was finding it hard. But that substitution blew my mind yesterday because at least Smith showed a little bit of determination, a bit of fight in the first half, was causing a few problems, whereas Yang was getting out muscled. I think teams realise that if you put in a hard tackle early on, I think he might struggle. And I think we're getting to a point now where the fans are going to start turning against him a little bit, even though he's a young kid. When he's not one of your own, you're not going to have that same level of patience with him. So I think it was an experiment that maybe hasn't gone quite as they anticipated, and I'll be disappointed if he carries on starting him.
Another player which we need to come on to is Lloyd. There's a tweet from yourself which we'll get to in a second. He seems to have frustrated a lot of fans this weekend. Joe Langley says another half-assed performance. Yang is never making it a good level, and Lloyd should be a non-league. Your own point, someone needs to get hold of Lloyd and have some strong words with him. 2 games in a row now, and he's done nothing but foul after foul. It's ridiculous. JRP says Lloyd should not have come on, especially when Furlong was sent off. They were always going to camp in like that. No disrespect to Alfie, but he has the touch and link-up play of a horse on rollerblades. We need to remedy fitters ASAP. Right then, we seem to be just destroying all the young prospects this episode. But go on,
we're good.
Alfie Lloyd, go on.
He's shown glimpses this season. There's been times that he's come on, had an impact. There was one game in particular where he came on, almost scored 2 goals. My biggest frustration over the last 2 games has been he's come on at a time when we're chasing the game, and almost everything he's done has stopped any momentum. Sheffield United last week gave away so many free kicks, stupid free kicks, where there's no need to make a challenge. And just when we're building up ahead of steam, maybe he does something stupid. And the same again happened yesterday. That last tweet about a horse on rollerblades, his first touch isn't great. And when you have a lot of the ball, you need somebody up there who's going to hold it up, going to bring your chairs, your Saitos into play. So I think there was a tweet from QPR Net, and it basically said every single striker that we have is playing one level above where they should be in the pecking order. So if Michael Fraser first choice, really he should be a second choice striker. Alfie Lloyd's our 4th choice striker, and he probably should be on loan at a League 1 or League 2 team getting experience. So I think maybe my own criticism of him was a little bit harsh because he's still learning. But I think after last week, surely somebody had a word with him and said, look, you can't come on and put yourself about like that and give away free kicks, because it really, really hinders us.
Yeah. That's the last player we'll have a go at this week. I promise. It's a tough week for QPR, though, isn't it? You've got a really long away trip on Wednesday night to Borough, and then we've got Leeds visiting on Saturday, and all of a sudden Leeds fans are just suddenly saying, "Oh no, it's happening again, isn't it?" And we've got to go to QPR next, the very place where it started to fall apart last season. Do you hold up hopes of getting anything out of this week?
I watched the Portsmouth Leeds game earlier, and I think that atmosphere at Portsmouth, it did for us last weekend. I think it did for Leeds again today. There's something about that place. And unfortunately, I don't think we're quite in the right mindset to recreate that kind of atmosphere that might throw them a little bit. And I think after the last couple of results at QPR and the Portsmouth, I don't think they're going to come into it and take us lightly. I think we'll see a very, very focused Leeds team. I'm not sure who they're playing in midweek, but if they lost that one, then I think maybe it would throw a bit of doubt.
They've got Millwall on Wednesday night. Who they haven't beat. They've lost 2 twice already this season. So it could be a dodgy week. We're also talking about wages this week. We've had some details, supposed details leaked or given out in a graphic as to which clubs are paying what in terms of in terms of wages. My first reaction on here was, apart from looking at how high Norwich were, was to look down at where you guys were and think, wow, I didn't realise perhaps that you were in the, the relegation spots, if you like, in terms of wages. Did that surprise you? I mean, it's not been confirmed, but do you believe that?
It wouldn't surprise me. I think from what I understand, QPR have done a lot to cut the wage bill over the last 10 years, really, since the FFP fine that we got. I also think maybe if that's basic wage, I do think QPR probably have quite a good bonus system in place for players for international appearances, international call-ups, things like that. So I was surprised that we were fifth lowest, but I think it kind of maybe gives us a reality check about what our aims should be when you look at that Burnley graphic and they've got Brownhill on £45,000 a week. Yeah,
We have a look
it's
at yours.
Different world.
Yeah, I mean, reportedly Cook is on 30, but apart from that, does it surprise you that reportedly that more of the players are on this is a weekly, 15 grand a week? It's still good, isn't it? But obviously Ronnie Edwards and Harrison are there from their loans. But does any of that surprise you on there?
I think with the new contracts, I think Chair is probably going to be up there as the highest paid or second highest paid. I'm not sure. I believe the 30 grand a week for Cook, but yeah, I'm not sure I trust those individual wages. To be honest, there's a few players I can think of that would probably be on that list ahead of some of those. Like I don't think we're going to be signing Harvey Rao on a free transfer from Chelsea when he's injured on 12.5 grand a week. Yeah, and some of those are definitely overpaid. Nicholas Madsen getting 12.5 grand a week to not do anything for the last 4 months is mind blowing.
Our last question this week is asking QPR fans, and please put your answers in the comments here, which League One club you'd most like to come up next season, and which three of them. And we think it's going to be three of these, Gerard. Any affinity to any of these? Would you like to see back in the league, given that I think QPR are definitely safe now and you're not going up?
Well, we can say that Birmingham are pretty much given, can't we? From a personal point of view, for lots of reasons, Wickham, I'd like to see. It's a local one for us. We can get there easily. Quite like how that club's been run, and don't really have an affinity to them, but I do live in Reading, and I've got friends that support Reading, and what they've been through for the last couple of years is absolutely scandalous, and you think there's going to be an end in sight soon, and it just seems to get worse and worse for them, and for them to even be pushing at the playoffs is pretty incredible. Fair play to Sellers and now Hunt. So I think it would be a brilliant story if they made it. Maybe a Reading Huddersfield playoff final, so they could get revenge for what happened a few years ago at Wembley. But yeah, Wickham and Reading. Don't want to see Nathan Jones back in the Championship.
I was going to ask you about Charlton. No. Okay, right.
Okay. Yeah, and again, it's an awkward one for us to get to. Actually, it's not an easy one. There's no real rivalry there either. I think the bigger rivalry is Reading, probably.
Okay, right. Let us know in the comments which one you'd like to face. Good luck against Middlesbrough. Good luck against Leeds, of course, as well. We'll watch. That was on. Must be on TV. That one. Leeds are always on TV.
12, yeah.
Half 12, right? Brilliant. We'll be watching that, and we'll review it all, of course, next week. Thank you very much for joining us. Drop us a like and drop us a subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks very much.